politically, you and I are very, very much aligned.
Yeah.
And so I have to ask you this as the Hawaii connection. Were you ever into Tulsi Gabbard?
Uh, no, not really.
Fair.
And here's why. And I don't want to. So, a friend, one of my best friends, is very involved in the scene. He works at the Capitol. I'll say that. And
Okay.
I won't. But anyway, I didn't know much, and so I I called him one time, and as we talked about it, he was trying to not give an opinion either. Like he wasn't trying to sway my opinion, but the the one word that he said like three times in the conversation was opportunist.
Mhm.
And this is before we knew a lot about it, right? This is when it was like, a Democrat running for something, and and I was very fascinated by the conversation. So he wasn't, like I said, he wasn't trying to give his, there was no like partisan leaning opinion or anything like that. It was really just, well, here's who she is, here's who you know, and and so I saw it in that view. And I will say, during that first kind of campaign and everything, there were things I completely agreed with that she was saying, and there were things I didn't agree as much. But I wasn't like on board there. I mean, obviously, anybody from Hawaii in the spotlight is great for me as a Hawaiian, um, but I kind of had what I was looking for in that campaign, and and I didn't feel like she was a complete match for my beliefs.
No, I hear you. I mean, because it's one of the biggest, like sort of I've had to, wipe the egg off my face for a while because I mean, I didn't vote for her. I voted for Bernie and I campaigned for Bernie.
Right.
But, at one point in time, I thought very highly of her. I thought that she was bringing some ideas to the table that nobody else was. I
Yeah.
thought she was going to really be a true like firebrand that was kind of appealing to a lot of different groups of people, and I really believed that she was genuine, and I was hoping she was going to be Bernie's running mate, even. And then time revealed that I was completely wrong about all of that. Completely, completely wrong. And I've met her a couple times, man. Like I kind of know her,
Wow.
and I just feel like now, like I'm just kind of like, who knows what you'll be saying next year? I mean, I think
Right.
opportunist is totally right on.
Yeah.
And I mean, friends of mine were like, Ron, you're wrong. You're getting her wrong. And I'm like, no, I don't think I am. You got to hear her out. I'm telling you. And none of them have rubbed my nose in it. None of the I've apologized. I've reached out and
Right.
I'm like, hey man,
Right.
I got that one wrong. I was wrong. I'm sorry. And they just kind of said, that's cool. But no one's
Well,
rubbed my face in it.
which
Um,
means number one that you have good friends.
yes.
But I want to tell you, if not for the conversation with my friend, I'm the same way because, like I said, she did have some ideas where I was like, okay, this is
Hmm.
good thinking. This puts us having a discussion we don't have, that kind of thing. She had some ideas like that. So without talking to my friend, I'm in the same boat, and a lot of people were. You weren't alone in that. I just had a conversation that made me think, all right, let's watch and see and see where we are. It wasn't like I was against her. I wasn't.
Hmm.
Had had she taken the nomination, I would have been fine with it at the time. It was, I would have been in the same way. I was lucky to have someone who's really involved and told me some things and some stories about just how her mind changed a little quick and a little bit 180 for something, and it was really interesting. Like, he didn't paint her as evil or anything like that. It was like, well, when there's opportunity, she knows how to go at it,
Yeah.
and so that really changed me a lot. So I was, but I was happy a Hawaiian was involved on that level.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think your friend is correct. It's 100% correct because it just seemed like eventually it just became clear. It's like, oh, you're just wherever the contrarian online pulse is, you
Yes.
just go there.
Yeah.
You just go there and hope something grows,
Yeah.
and that's literally all you do.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, that's not there's nothing sincere there. And honestly, the things I'm saying about her, I could also say about 99% of other
Sure.
politicians too.
Sure.
But it's like this one, for me personally, this one hurts because this is one case where I thought this was something different.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It was
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
99% of all the other ones who I already knew were 99% of all the other
Yes. Yes.
ones.
Right. Right.
So I had to, I mean, with politics and the Hawaii thing, but I will say, man, I always, I mean, like I've done a lot of stuff in the political comedy space, especially over the past like 6 or 7 years, however much it's been. And I always, I always look for your response on Twitter. And, if we ever have like some strategic differences, I always am like, okay, I got to think about this more because if Kermit's not, like I got to think about this, and I'm like, all right, like,
Wow.
am I missing something? Like, what am I, like, should I be reassessing? And I can't remember the specifics, but I think at one time I tweeted something about Fauci. I'm not a fan of Dr. Fauci.
Right.
Um, and it's really hard to communicate that because I think that there are very valid criticisms of him. But I think that often there's so many, and this is, of course, going back to like 2020 through 2022. There's so many criticisms of that guy for all the wrong reasons that sometimes valid ones get kind of muted.
Yes.
And so for
Yes.
me, it's like I'm criticizing the guy because I think he's an absolutely terrible communicator at a time where we needed a good one, and B, I think much like our entire system, he's a capitalist first, and public health is an afterthought. And he's demonstrated that his entire career. Now, is that unique to him? No, because anyone who has to have that job in the United States, that's what they're going to do.
Yep.
But I think we still got to be shouting about it. So yeah, I remember like you responded to something I said about him, and it kind of made me think like okay, like I gotta package this the right way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember I remember us doing that because it's very rare that I shouldn't say very rare, but it's rare that I feel like, that you and are in a confrontational place and I don't remember what it was about specifically, but I do remember thinking, should I post this? Should I, you know what I mean? I don't want to get in your face and because here's the thing, what you say about me, I absolutely think that about you. I love the way you you look at things because I think blatant partisanship is one of the real downfalls of where we are right now. Is that if you believe in your cult, no matter where, it just like and people just don't like when I say that I'm not the biggest fan of Biden, right? And but it's not like I hate all Democrats, I hate him, or it really is a thing where that specific thing and the way you said it, I felt came off, that I wanted to mention the argument, and it had nothing to do with like, because you're right, man. That Fauci took a lot of crap that was just like insane, like people calling for his head, kind of thing, and just
For all the wrong reasons.
yeah. And so, but I just felt like in the way that was presented, like, I disagree with whatever. I can't, like I said, I can't remember specifically,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where when I see your tweets and when I talk to you outside of social media, I'm really impressed at how you look at things because you really do look at things a certain way, and it's it's one of those things where I've never seen you try and like um ride the Democratic line, or the Republican line, or anybody's. You're not riding anybody's kind of like, you're not jumping on their trolley and just going down the path, right? You always taking everything individually, and I think that's the way to do it. And so yeah, that was one of those rare times, and I think we because you did kind of reply, and I saw what you were
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
so
No, I mean,
yeah,
we talked it out, and I totally, it's one of those things. Like I totally saw where you were coming from, And I'm like, "I get that." And I was like, "Here's where I'm coming from." And yeah, we
Yeah.
did. I don't
Yeah.
remember like all the details either. It's not really
Yeah.
important. And I think we kind of like, saw each other's, point.
Right.
But I did learn a very valuable lesson